So Grammarly conducted a study where they allegedly analyzed 1 billion words corrected via their browser extension of the same name, and released it in 2017, comparing the frequency of typos between early birds and night owls. Night owls make more typos. So I'll use the early bird numbers to better illustrate my point here. Overall, they had an online mistake average of 13.8 mistakes per 100 words. However, this includes social media, where people make mistakes on purpose, of course. So if we exclude that and calculate the median or average of the email and blog rate, we get 8.7 mistakes per 100 words. Assuming the type speed is about 60 words per minute, which is generous, this means that, on average, college students and professionals commit about 5.2 mistakes per minute when typing. That means if you're going back and using the mouse or touchpad for correcting previous errors via right-clicking, even if you think this process takes 2 seconds, which it doesn't, a bit longer than that, then that's 2 seconds per minute times 60 minutes per hour times, let's go with 3 hours per day, assuming that you spend most of your time at a computer, times 250 work days per year, divided by 86,400 seconds in a day, to get over a day's worth of time you waste by neglecting keyboard shortcuts. This is also assuming that your workflow isn't being interrupted by zoning out and subsequently causing distractions. So I went and compiled a list of the best text editor keyboard shortcuts that I found most convenient, which work in browser or in Microsoft Office. So enough of the chit chat, let's get to it. First, we have move cursor 1 word length. Personally, I've always wanted to know how to do this, so control or right-left arrow, that's right or left arrow, goes without saying. Most people watching this will have been today's years old when they learn how to do this. The cursor stops when it reaches a whitespace character. You can hold the combination to traverse multiple words that are on the same line quickly. Next, we have highlight 1 word at a time. This is an extension of moving the cursor 1 word length, only now we can hold the shift key. Great for adjusting groups of text that happen to be on the same line. A small yet useful detail is that you can hit the right or left arrow key to move the cursor to the end or beginning of the highlighted section. Highlight paragraph and or bullet point. Control plus shift and pressing one of the up or down arrow keys will highlight all the contents from the cursor's current location to the beginning or end of the paragraph. That is, until an empty new line character is encountered. This also is true for formatted or bulleted lists, as text editors treat things like bullet points as paragraphs. Okay, so admittedly, I knew like everyone else that left and right arrow keys move you back and forth 1 character at a time, but somehow never reasoned that simply holding shift while doing so would highlight 1 character at a time. It's rough, I know. So continuing with the theme of highlighting, we have shift up and down arrow. This is an interesting one as it allows you to highlight every word from your cursor's current location to where the cursor would be had you just press up and down keys normally. This allows for very precise editing, and for example, you could control arrow and or up and down arrow your way over to where you need to start your highlighting, and then you can shift up and down the block of text as opposed to clicking and dragging the mouse. Again, very precise and very quick alternative to click and drag. Next, we're going to have jumping to the beginning or end of a current line. And there are many derivatives from pressing the home and end keys. That's the home and end key. Home to move cursor to the beginning of the current line, and then end to move it to the end of the current line. I've also been looking for a shortcut for jumping to the beginning or end of a sentence. However, there doesn't currently seem to be one, so too bad. All right, so here come the control and shift combinations for home or end. So shift and then hitting home or end will highlight the line with respect to the cursor's current position on the current line to the start or end of that line. Control plus home or end is going to jump to the very beginning or very end of a text document. Emphasis on very. Control and shift plus home or end is going to highlight from the current cursor position to the very beginning or end of a text document. So wherever you are in a text document, it's going to highlight everything until the very beginning if you press home with control or shift, and the very end if you press end. I might as well touch on Control A really quickly. So when pressed once, the combination of Control and A will highlight a paragraph or bullet point. Again, bullet points are treated as paragraphs in text documents. But when hit twice, it will highlight an entire text document, irrespective of the cursor's current position. So if you ever wanted to copy and paste an entire text file or the contents of it, I should say, then this is your go-to. Hit Control A twice. Shift F10 allows you to right-click without right-clicking. You won't have to traverse from your keyboard to your mouse and back to your keyboard in order to correct a grammar or spelling miscue, although right-clicking with the laptop can be more or less seamless depending on which model. In text editors, at least within Microsoft Office, it doesn't seem to bring up that prompt that allows for additional text editing to change fonts, for example. But how do we do that? Dealing with fonts in general have always been a nuisance, whether it be changing the font type or changing the font size. Luckily, there are shortcuts for that. So Control, Shift, and F will change the font type, will at least bring up the menu prompt for you to select a different font type. And then you can hit the up and down arrows to select it, and of course, enter. And to change the font size, you will hit Control, Shift, right or left angle brackets, as in the shift comma or shift period, not the actual directional arrows. This will allow you to increase or decrease font size by 1. So now you can highlight any amount of text, change its font size, or perform any other edits on them. Control F. This allows one to easily find any instance of a text entered in a text box by highlighting those instances on the active page. There are many instances of the character or string that you entered. Use Control G to toggle through those instances. Undo and redo. Ever did something crazy on accident and didn't know what just happened when typing? This will save you and your time and has saved millions of people around the world. No exaggeration. This one seems like a no-brainer shortcut that belongs in the same group as copy and paste or, bold text, for example. But let's not leave anything to chance here. So I couldn't end the video off without going over this. F10 or holding Alt for a second and a half within a Microsoft Office application will enter you into what I can only call a shortcut mode that will allow you to navigate the different menu screens very easily. For example, pressing F10, then the N key in sequence will take me to the insert menu of an app like Word or Notebook. You'll then have the insert actions buttons at the top with their own shortcut keys displayed all over them. So from there, you'd hit T to insert a table, or G to insert a page template, for example. Each Microsoft Office menu has its corresponding shortcuts for that menu's actions provided via this F10 mode. Pressing F10 again will allow you to toggle this mode on and off.
Danny Beardo.